on them will require, in most instances, that we spend the money and then create a voucher, draw the money down to replace it. And as I said, because the design work and some engineering work, that kind of stuff is starting now, those draws will begin almost immediately too. You just won't see the construction work.
Commissioner Adams, thank you.
So I'm just stuck a little bit, but I know you're gonna help me to be able to come out of this ditch I'm in. Because this is why it was so important for one or two of us to be sitting on the Brownfield Authority Board. That is another arm of the city because they gave 75,000 toward some of the stuff that I just heard you mention to some professors of a university and some students to do some of this work. And I guess my question becomes, how much does it take, or I need to actually hear from these people, or we that want to need to be invited into these sessions or the park where things are happening, because for far too often, and I shared this with ex-Representative Pashoka, that too much money is coming down to Connexus for training, and only the facilitators are getting paid and our people are not getting the training that they need in this community. We don't need to be spending the residents' funding for something that we have been given,
Commissioner
that we're
Adams.
praying that is not a pipe dream with our park.
Commissioner Adams,
But
this is.
I'm talking about our park now. I'm just,
But you're going off into Connexus.
no, I'm
and
back at our park now. But I'm just saying, we don't need to be allowing our opera funds to be utilized for people to be getting paid to do something that we don't tangibly know what they're doing, because there's been so much behind the scenes stuff going on. I mean, we're not giving enough updates. We attend our committee meetings are in order 4 weeks out of a month for us to attend to get the information that we need and ask of, but they're so dismantled because things are happening in other committees. And some committees aren't even giving the updates that we expect.
So the ARPA funds, again, is the American Rescue Plan
I'm
Act
aware of that,
dollars,
sir.
which was given to municipalities from the Biden administration, bipartisan legislation to help cities to address issues as it relates to revenue loss. So the projects without the ARPA funds would have to lean on the general fund. And since the general fund, as stated, has been aiding and assisting the water fund and other areas, we have to use the rescue dollars in order to do these projects.
And wait on just
Because
reimbursement. Yes, I'm aware
Right,
of
if
that.
we don't use them, then we can't do the projects. That's just the bottom
I'm
line.
aware of that.
So either the money goes back, or we use the money, which is what it's for, where we can get this done for the residents. You're talking about Hall Park, $1.1 million.
We need more than that. even.
Right, but that's just phase one.
Yeah. I'm
But
aware
if
of
we
that,
can't
sir.
get phase one done, then phase 2 and 3 don't even have a chance. So we have to use these monies, which is designed for it, so we can get these projects done, because the ARPA dollars, they have to be spent by when?
Must all be
Late next
spent
year.
by September 30, 26.
Oh, year after. Oh.
So we, and this time is gonna go fast.
Okay.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Isom.
Just clarity, the ARPA funds must be obligated by 2024.
Correct.
And spent by December 26th, which we have close to 3 million right now. So, we use 2.1 million to pay relief for the water. So
And they need.
we have been doing the right things with the monies.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henderson.
I was gonna say, I think, Commissioner Adams was talking about the 75,000 that was allocated for us to hire,
No,
the 75 that was paid to hire some
No.
consultants. or
Commissioner
there's some
Adams,
confusion
please.
About what the one 75,000 was used for. If you can speak to that, Alex.
That was used to get the initial steps of the process off and going. That went mostly University of Michigan, provided personnel and talent to prepare the initial drawings, designs, and so forth that went out that helped to get us started with pursuing the grants and so forth that we're getting now.
Last month, I think it was.
So that would be the data component.
Yes.
That's takes human resource to collect the data, do the research, to complement and get the monies for grants.
Right, and put it in a presentable form that we could use to help garner support in other grants.
When we're sitting down with the EPA and
That's right.
EGLE and all these other agencies that rely on data.
That's right. As a matter of fact, that first package you saw on Ox Creek that had the pictures of the boardwalk where the canoes and so forth, that was a product that came
From what?
from that $75,000.
Which one?
The amount that came from Brownfield.
Okay. When was that?
That's been at least probably 16, 18 months ago now.
And they
Okay.
did a presentation right here.
That's two
Yes.
different things.
Exactly.
So, but this tonight is not the Brownfield nor Connexus. This is for the city of Benton Harbor to allocate the ARPA dollars, which was given to the city of Benton Harbor from the federal government, so we can complete these projects. And as Finance Chair eloquently stated, we have to have the monies allocated, Commissioner Adams, before the end of 2024.
Okay.
Money spent by 2026. So as we go into 2024, this work is very important.
I'd like to hear more
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
clarity on Commissioner Henderson's question though about the,
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Okay, I know we passed a grant months ago about Hub Park. Okay, did I hear right? It's all been used to pay, getting for the plans, or what's happened to that grant? Also, the reimbursement will come to us first to approve it. Well, that's gonna be all the prepayments, that is saying we're gonna reimburse. The other thing, will it be used to hire staff, other people?
The money will work exactly the way the block grant, CDBG does right now. As the components are authorized and work is done, we'll get billed and we will pay it. And then we'll prepare a voucher package and draw the money down that was spent to get it back. It gets reimbursed.
I know what reimbursement, I do audits. What I wanted asked was, would it come to us before the things be paid? That's gonna be reimbursed. I also asked, will staff be hired? Is it gonna be used to hire any staff, with CDBG or anybody?
You know, it's mostly going to be used to contract for various functions that have to be done. Everything from dredging, cleanup of the soil and water. There'll be some removal of trees. There'll be removal of all the junk and stuff that's up and down the creek walls there. There's 100 components to this.
But no
And most
hiring
of them will
staff.
be bid out and done by contractors.
Okay, and then I talked about the grant we passed months ago for Hall Park. What's
Yes,
the update on that?
that money is still intact. That's what I was referring to a moment ago when I said we've not spent it because we're trying to resolve both the issues of the environmental review and move in concert with the funding sources so we don't get in any trouble. And right now, we're just authorizing the design work to get started. The design and architectural work, so forth, has to be done first. And while they're doing that, because that comes out of what's called soft cost, it can be done before the completion of the environmental review. And we'll be doing the environmental review during the same period they're working on that.
Okay, thank you.
So, hello?
You recognize.
Thank you. I guess I'm just confused because I think we've all seen some designs that have come before us. I mean, I want clarity and not only that, I guess I want to know that there's accountability and responsible transparency first and foremost. Because I have sit and watched for the past 20 years, Benton Harbor residents have to suffer because block grant dollars had to pay some businesses back that ripped them off. I don't want to see that happen again, and that's what they elected me to do for exactly what I'm speaking right now. And if it's a problem for somebody, it's a personal one. Keep it to yourself. But I want more hands-on of accountability, transparency, because just like this had to come before us for our approval, I think that there's some other things along the way that's set in place that need to come before us and get approval too, like contracts and various things as well. Is that a problem?
All contracts must come before the city council. All contracts. And all expenditures, such as this. But again, it's like the work and what has to be done with these dollars it's like love and marriage. It goes together like a horse and carriage. So we have to have the work done. We have to have the environmental study done. We have to have the reimbursement dollars. I'm going to read this from the memo. It says financial impact. The impact will be negligible to the city except that it will make it possible for the city to complete these projects. So without the ARPA dollars, Hall Park, Ox Creek, and other projects in the city, we got sidewalk projects that still have to be done and completed. Work that needs to be done cannot get done if we don't pass this resolution. And some of these things is what we hear people talking about. It needs to be done, streets and different things, where it's pending on this vote tonight.
Okay, and with that being said, Honorable Mayor, the gentlelady of the second ward wanted to address something that we tabled.
Gentle lady, if I beg your pardon, the second ward commissioner is none other than Commissioner Jerry Edwards that I know.
I'm sorry, third ward commissioner, Henry, I'm sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me.
Point of order,
Please
please.
forgive me. Let the
We
record show
accept
that
it.
Commissioner Adams did apologize to the second
Well,
ward.
it's just, I'm sure it
Henry
was just
Edwards.
before it's just a
And
slip.
she intended that beautiful the beautiful lady of the third ward wanted to address something that we tabled, and it has a lot to do with this as well, so, with federal dollars when it comes to contracting. So, if we can speed that process up, and if we have to have a special meeting to get it back, so we can have some people in place, trained, in training, or what have you. I know we don't want to hold up progress, but for Mr. Little to just keep us engaged in all processes so that we ensure the residents that we're working on their behalf.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams, and I appreciate your zeal for transparency and progressive policies. With that, I call for the question.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Coit Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This brings us to our staff comments. Chair would like to recognize the Community and Economic Development Director, Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say thanks to the commission for your vote and support, and at the upcoming Planning and Economic Development Committee, if you will be there, I will be prepared to try and give you as much information as I possibly can, that you will be wanting to know again.
Thank you. Chair recognizes our Public Safety Director, Director McGinnis.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. First, I'd like to thank Commissioner Singleton, Commissioner Henderson for kind of the speed and organization that we've been able to push some stuff through, and the other commissioners that came into support. We've done a lot of things over a short amount of time, and we've really been going smoothly. I think we've done some things over the course of the last month and a half that probably take most communities probably a year to do. So I thank you for the support. You also, Mayor, for that. Just a reminder, Wednesday, we will be at the Personnel and Finance Committee continuing this discussion on Chapter 11, which is the building code. There's a lot of moving parts to that. So we're going to try and get you as much information as possible. There's some complication to it. It's probably going to make your eyes bleed. I want to get you as much information as possible for the betterment of the city as far as collecting fees for building permits and updating language in the ordinance. So again, 11 has about 4 or 5 different kind of arms to it that we want to make sure that you have a full comprehension when we try to bring it in October, probably the first, probably the second meeting in October. Yes. So we'll have a presentation, documentation for you all. Just be prepared for that. And it is extremely boring. So I'm giving you a warning now, but it's absolutely important for the city. Again, thank you for all your support.
Thank you. Chair recognizes our City Attorney.
I don't have anything to report.
Thank you. Chair recognizes the City Clerk.
I have no report tonight.
Chair recognizes our City Manager, Manager Mitchell.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Chair recognizes our 4th Ward Commissioner, Commissioner Clark Griffin.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I saw that agenda and I was like, we're gonna be here all night. So, because I had a long, long day, even longer. So I'm just grateful that we're about to get out of here. So have a good night.
Chair recognizes our 3rd Ward Commissioner, Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the citizens for coming out and listening to what we're talking about tonight, how we're spending your money and the plans that we're doing. I want to make a statement to my colleagues as well as the citizens. If the commission puts in place to make sure that we get jobs for our residents or training for our residents, there's 3 programs that we've passed here unanimously, and it's not working. We just did 3 contracts and only 1 hired Benton Harbor resident. That doesn't sit well with me. Structural racism has did a job on us Black Americans and poor Americans. So we call ourselves doing something legal by approving a resolution to make sure that our citizens get training and jobs, and it's not working. We had this conversation with Avamarch. Why is it not working? One contract complied, and the other 2 didn't. That's not pleasing to me. And it's surely not pleasing to any young people that want something better than disability checks. So until we make whoever is responsible, Avamarch or the city manager or whoever's responsible
for not allowing our people to participate in these resolutions. Shame, shame on us. Shame, shame on us. No jobs. That's one thing that Benton Harbor's been hollering for the 40 years that I know of. Jobs. We can't even use our connection to work with the apprenticeship program. If they're training people to be apprenticeship down in Michigan work, why can't our contractors is coming to get hundreds and millions of dollars now? Why can't they work with Michigan Works or whomever is training our people? Shame, shame on us to let it happen. It's on us, and when we look back and our grandkids ask us why, I want to see what we got to say. And another question now, and I'm glad to see Mr. Abermarch over there. I walked around in my neighborhood today, and I saw some fantastic mushrooms. I'm like, where is these things, this big gobs of mushrooms growing in people's yard? Two kinds. I don't know what they are, but I can almost guarantee you they came from the seeds, the grass seeds that the contractors put down. We talked about this. We talked about this a long time ago. It didn't get corrected. Now we're looking at these mushrooms. I don't know what the mushrooms are. I'll ask Mr. Abermarch if he will look it up and find out what these mushrooms are growing in our yard. Is it dangerous to animals and cats, babies? What is it?
Thank you, Commissioner.
Are you cutting me short or what?
The time had expired.
Oh, okay.
Do you need more time?
No, I'm standing on the soapbox. Get off.
And your botany degree, be looking for your certificate. Chair recognizes our second ward commissioner, Mr. Jerry Edwards. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, for that confirmation. Thank you, everybody. Real quickly, I want to thank, I guess, the process that it went through for the, I don't know how many came through the auto show, some call it, some say the car show. This past Saturday, it was great. Weather kind of turned it off about 4:15. And I understand why now those guys are always wiping their car. They don't want nothing on no cars. They don't want no dust, no butterfly, no nothing. But outside of that, it was great. Talk to those that were actually kind of in charge of putting it together, and that family, Cora Ingert, it was in memorial to her, who actually started the car show in Fairplain. And the way that it got to me was that John always gets a hot dog at Sweeney's. And he was talking to Sweeney, and they was going, oh, why you not doing the car show, blah, blah, blah. And at that time, I was walking up, and he said, hey, you need to talk to that guy. And basically, he said he would like to get a car show here. And I've been trying to find out who to give a car show for at least 3 years. And so that's how that happened. They also would like to, and just to let us all know, they would also like to have that as an annual thing. I had the shirt on, but I had to put these sleeves on. Air conditioner, ever since I was a kid, it bothers me. So I had to run out and put that on. Also, I would like to say, for those of you, I don't know how many of us, but for those of you who might try to reach the mayor or commissioner, if you using that Ring Central number, I know I have trouble. My number is 269-277-6489. I even answer spam, especially when I get bored. But if you try that Ring Central number, I don't know what you're gonna get. Sometime, Roland Rice calls me and it'll show up as Commissioner Henry. Just a minute you might call me, it might show up as Sharon Henderson. So I'm just saying, if you can, find another way to get in touch with your commissioner or any of us, because Tech Ring Central, we've been having trouble with it for a while. So, kind of take the load off us saying that we don't answer our phone. Might even have kids, little ones. I know that's the wrong number. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, and thank you residents, for coming out, taking time out of your busy schedule to see how your local government is working for you or not. Because sometimes it does and sometimes it just doesn't, but it doesn't mean that we're not trying. I want to thank Mr. Rabbit for his good gatekeeping and taking charge to write some things down and try to contact us. He emailed us when he finds things wrong in the community, and he usually has, well, I don't know if he attaches everybody to it or not. But I get quite a bit of communications from Mr. Rabbit, and I appreciate that. That's what you all elected us to do, take your complaints. And Mr. Nesbitt, I had the pleasure of having to open the door to allow Home Depot in to actually do my plumbing. And they dare not leave a mess in my mess. They did a pretty nice job thus far, as I know of. They ended up having to run a pipe all the way out the side of my house. I don't know why. My hot water heater never had what I see now, but I guess I'll understand at a later date. I'm not a plumber, but I've been on the calls for the past 18, 19, 20 months now with the State Eagle and everybody in regards to our lead lines and stuff, and I give them complaints. I share all complaints that I get personally and things that I know are going on wrong with Avon Marsh, be on the line, a whole bunch of folks be on this line. I want Mr. Duncan to know that he can rest assured that if you don't think that anything locally is going on as far as reparations are concerned, Commissioner Adams has us connected nationally and statewide with reparations. And anybody with ears to hear, please Google Breathe Act. We have a Michigan Breathe Act that we are trying our best to get all of our people of ancestral slaves to get on board, because we are fighting for reparations. We're going to get them. Everybody else wants us to learn of their history, to learn of ours. We're important. We come from kings and queens, and we want people to learn of who we are as well, and rightfully so. But yeah, if there's a fight going on, and we need all the capacity building to attach itself to it as possible. One of the reasons why I think that we need to do something to freeze the taxes. I think our ancestors would love for us to do something like that for those of descendants of slaves in the city of Benton Harbor. Because when it comes to code enforcement and all of that, I mean, we have people that don't have jobs, but we want to fine them with fees and everything. Like St. Joe don't give it enough. St. Joe give them enough fines and fees. For we already know the condition, the income level of the residents in Benton Harbor. Wow. And I'm hoping that Avon Marsh with ears will hear that when we go to doing our streets, to please start saving our pavers. For those residents who own their homes and want to beautify them and use them, to allow them to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Alden there. I'd just like to thank all the residents for coming out. Congratulations to everyone who was appointed to committees. Just really excited about this season of having people who are really engaged and understand what the boards and systems in our community needs to grow. And so just really excited about this season. So thank you, both you guys, for stepping up and wanting to serve on those particular boards. I think it was our chief that talked about all of the stuff that we've done in the short period of time. We are not where we necessarily want to be, but the city of Benton Harbor is definitely on the move. I remember growing up and riding down Main Street and half the buildings were boarded up and, you know, there was no activity downtown. The inner city was jacked up. And so to see a lot of the movement with the roads being fixed, the sidewalks being fixed, and just movement, it produces hope. And so I don't know about the rest of the commissioners, people start to call and ask, what about my street, as we heard about some of the complaints of things not happening, but it produces hope. People believe that things are gonna get done, and things are getting done. There's movement in the city, which is a great thing. There is transparency happening. Could there be more? Of course, there's always the room for improvement and to increase visibility, to increase transparency in the things that we do. But as commissioners, we do not run the day-to-day activity. We do not run the day-to-day operations. So part of our role is to depend upon our staff, who many of them are highly qualified through years and education and through experience, and who really does a really spectacular job of running this city. Could it be better? Yes, there's always room for improvement with everything that happens in a city and a municipality like ours. But at the same time, we have people who are doing a yeoman's job with very little. And so I'd just like to say thank you to our staff and to our community, especially the ones who've stayed around, who have continued to invest in their properties, invest in the city. And so that's so greatly appreciated and needed. And again, tonight we did approve and got done a lot of things that are important to the city and to the residents of Benton Harbor. And that's what we're supposed to do. As Commissioner Griffin talked about, we're not in this meeting all night. We shouldn't be in a commission meeting till 10, 11 o'clock. We're here to take care of business, iron out a lot of those details in those committees and get questions and things answered. And the committee meeting should be approving and talking about what we talked about in the committee. So hopefully that'll continue. And again, thank you guys for coming out. This is, you guys are the core. We see a lot of you here and are engaged in our community. So thank you all as well. And have a great evening.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Ison.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you for the comments. I wasn't here for the comments, so excuse my absence. I'm sure they was heard, all the comments. Sidewalk work, hydrants replacement project, reconstruction of division in Columbus. The momentum is continuing. The reconstruction, the infrastructure of this city will continue like it have been. We done put in this commission and put in the work to rebuild this city, the water distribution system. And the work is there, it's shown. You know, continue, especially with the hydrants. That's very important. Sidewalk replacement on different parts of the city. You know, I know it's on my street. I know the trees are growing up, pushing up the sidewalk. So it's very important that we get this stuff done. You know, I want to say thank President Biden for the American Rescue Plan Act monies. If it weren't for that, y'all know it's a church song. Where would I be?
Don't say it.
I'm telling you. I want to thank Biden for them opera forms. Thank you, Joe Biden, for the opera forms. But the city are using them in the right way to keep this city going. I know Ms. Kennard talked about her sidewalk. Avamar should be coming to your way. You know, I know different people talk about the alleys, You know, I can see how they working and now doing different phases on this side, that side. But you can't do all of it at one time. So coming near you, reconstruction of your alleys, sidewalks, lead line replacement. You know, I talked to the man, he coming to the house to do the pipes in my house, you know, and, you know, you gotta ask questions and stuff like that. I know Commissioner Adams was just talking about the little vent, you know, this new water heaters, the vent going outside and all that. So plus it's more efficient, so it should save in gas. So it's helpful. It's something, you know, something. There's always hope for the betterment of the life of the people in Benton Harbor. Benton Harbor. You know, I was at the car show Saturday for a while, and I went and talked to all the participants. You know, walked around talking about their cars. I said, oh man, I grew up in Benton Harbor. I was saying, you know, sometimes it's kind of hear their stories. You know, I grew up on Broadway. I had to walk to Calvin Britain. It's a white man. You know, you don't. You know, I'm trying to. He going back. Why didn't? But just as the story. Everybody got a story. And he's saying that he grew up on Broadway, walked to Calvin Britain, had to walk to junior high school, you know, but just to hear his story. Now he's bringing his hot rod downtown, and he looking around. He looking. I said, damn, man, this city is nice. Excuse me, but he said that. He said, man, this city of Benton Harbor, it's real. It's real. It's real. It's happening. Benton Harbor. God bless you. God bless Benton Harbor.
Go Detroit.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
Watch the clock, and usually go fast on me. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. And again, thank you to the new appointees. I thank this commission, you know, for your individual and collective efforts in helping this city to continue to move. There wasn't long ago that there was a whole lot of things that needed to be done. And we know that they needed to be done, though. We're trying to figure out a way. One of the biggest things was money. And somehow, you know, by the grace, you know, things start coming around, you know, and as we vet them and get them, you know, out, you know, Public Safety Committee meeting, when I seen that agenda Wednesday, I said, man, we're gonna be here for about 4 hours, you know. But we was able to get through them, discuss them, and vet them real well. Even the city attorney discussed about the need for us to decriminalize some of our ordinances. Some of them that's misdemeanors need to be civil infractions. She laid out a good case for that. I shared a story about how it did affect some of our residents. It was stated that in some other communities that is already civil infractions, but it's still on our books as misdemeanors. So where somebody in St. Joe gets charged with the same thing the person in Benton Harbor get charged with, it's still on the Benton Harbor's personal record because it's a misdemeanor. But it was the same offense, you know. So that's definitely in the works and much needed. So we're looking forward to making those things happen. I think it's also in the right direction of getting some of the fine money, of getting the issues resolved here on a local level. You know, didn't have to go across the bridge and continue to pay for the marble walls and stuff. That's a good thing. The committee meetings are definitely the meeting, as Commissioner Henry was saying, was it the meeting something.
Potato.
Meat and potatoes. So if you start attending those, they also are on YouTube. I think the little issue with the sound, they're working those things out. But that's how you can stay engaged. We're on the move, and like Commissioner Asham said, something is coming to your neighborhood soon. If you haven't seen it already, it's coming soon. What else? I missed out on some of the festivities this weekend, but I was out with the wife celebrating our 34th anniversary. So
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
somebody asked me, how do you make it work that long? And she gave them a history on how to do it. And they asked me, I don't know, I just go along.
That's all.
But thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you, Commissioner Singleton. I'd like to thank all the residents for coming out and all of the persons who participated in the public participation, citizens' comments, even though we don't answer immediately. And sometimes it may take time to address the issue, but just know it's not falling on deaf ears. Tomorrow I'll be traveling to Lansing, Michigan. The city of Benton Harbor will be one of 15 cities that will be meeting with Governor Whitmer's executive staff on the budget, state budget, and how the city of Benton Harbor and the other 14 cities headed by Black mayors will be not only at the table, but we will be a part of the conversation to set the table and make sure that funding continues to flow to the city of Benton Harbor, whether it be through education, housing, public safety, and all grants available to continue to move us forward. We also will meet with the state senator that's over the appropriations, the chair of appropriations, State Senator Anthony, to inform the mayors of the process and the supplemental budget, which is coming in October. I was in Detroit last night and I had an opportunity to meet a sister who runs a program where it's not expungements, but it's set up to help people who have warrants. And they can come and be a part of a forum where there's no arrest. There will be a judge there to help facilitate them addressing the warrants, where they don't have to live in fear, ride around hoping they don't get pulled over because they have a warrant from 2015. So this is something that we'll be talking more about, trying to help residents out. To the point, Director Little had mentioned the statistics, and I may need your help. You said 19 and under is what population? What percentage? 36%. Disabled is what percent? About 18%. And 65 and over is what percent? 20%. So if you look at those percentages, that impacts our workforce. We noticed that during the time where we were getting jobs for residents after 2 weeks, we noticed that some were quitting. And we found out that if they continued to work, it would kick them off of disability. And then over 65, of course, we have some strong seniors, but that impacts the workforce. So there's a lot of work to do, not only with training, but we have to attract talent in the city of Benton Harbor. One, we have to attract those who are away, because we do have a brain drain where a lot of our best and brightest are giving their talents to Chicago, Texas, Detroit, all over the country. So we have to find a way to bring them back, as well as attract new talent. Lastly, Paw Paw, beautiful. Empire Bridge, many other streets that's being done. And then in 2016, we saw Intercare formerly Mercy Hospital, torn down. But this Thursday, you come to the planning commission meeting at 1 p.m. where we'll be looking at the approval to bring a $25 million development, 79 units, and commercial space, 3,000 feet on the former Mercy property. So that's at 1 p.m. This Thursday. And with that, I'd like to
Entertain a motion to,
motion is
Adjourn.
made by Commissioner Adams to adjourn. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Edwards. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Adams,
yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes, Lord.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yeah.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Disconnect.